43 of the Tyre Recycling Podcast. We really appreciate you tuning in. Now, before we dive into today's topic, can you assist us with a goal? Currently, only 70.5% of our viewers are subscribed to this YouTube channel. We aim to increase that number to 50% in 2023, and we can only do that with your support. If you're a frequent viewer of our videos or podcasts, please consider subscribing by clicking the button below. Every subscription helps to improve our content. And with that, let's get started with the show. Hello and welcome back to the Tyre Recycling Podcast for our first episode in 2023. Firstly, Happy New Year to all our listeners and viewers. Happy New Year to you as well, Ewan. Ewan, can you take us through what is in store for our first instalment of 2023?
Okay, and belated New Year to everybody. This podcast is an interview or a discussion with Ettore Mussachi from ETRA. It's a run-up to the 28th ETRA Conference, which is taking place in Brussels in March. And we thought we'd have a chat with Ettore to see what sort of subjects would be brought up at the conference.
Okay, that will be interesting. Is it more of a focus? Are we going to have more of a focus on the conference side, or will there be, a little bit more of an extension of that rubber crumb discussion? The
plan here is to talk about the conference and about what is happening at the conference. But naturally, with the pressures on the industry and the potential risk to the crumb rubber market from two sides, from the microplastic sides, and now from the PEH side, it's obviously going to be a topic for discussion.
Brilliant. Well, we won't dive too much more into it, so the people actually listen to the interview that you've carried out. So let's get straight into that interview right now.
Today, we will do a talk about the ETRA Conference, and you can tell me what's happening. Okay, and we can give you some publicity. So
yes, with pleasure. Last year we organized the conference in May because it was a very critical year about the COVID. So we prefer not to do in March because every conference should be confirmed with the hotel and whatever at least 3 months in advance. At the end of 2021, it was very difficult to make a forecast of what could have been in March of the situation. But now we are back to March. I think it is a good timing, is a good moment of the year for the industries, for many activities, and so on. And we were used to have the conference in March. So at the end of last year's conference, majority of people in giving the evaluation form confirm that March is the preferred moment for them to come to Brussels. So we are back to March, and well, there are many issues, many things going on. Well, first of all, I think, if you prefer, give me your points, and I will comment them with pleasure.
Okay. Well, I think we've discussed this previously, but one of the biggest issues that we have in the industry is what do we do with the tire material, and this is with the pressures being put on the crumb rubber sector. We absolutely need to find new markets, bigger markets, And I understand that that's part of what the Replanned City Life project's about. And you'll be talking about that at the conference, I believe.
Yeah. Well, yes, I completely agree with you. I mean, it has taken years to develop materials and markets, because you know, every product or many products done with recycled rubber, it represents a new product. So it has to gain the trust from the market, from the industries, the consumer, and so on. And I think that in this very moment, with a very strong uncertainty on many different aspects of our life, it is important to keep all the stream, all the outlet open. It's impossible, I mean, or I think it would be very risky to make a forecast and say, well, let's focus on this or on that. I think that giving up the infill materials or the sports sector would be a major mistake, and the consequence of the loss of this market would have major environmental impact than some let's say concerns that are not even yet really quantified about the release of microplastics. I think I mean, a responsible society, a responsible policy would be to take care of the management of the turf in order to contain the reduction. Okay, this means growing. This means improving. Okay, giving up to change direction with a U-turn. I mean, it means that you're taking so much risks, and you need on the other application or other products to make this start from scratch, to make the effort to make them sustainable, because we don't know how the other new products and materials could impact on the environment. You know, turf has been investigated over 20 years. So we are aware now that there are some release, but there are also some measures to contain the release. I cannot imagine the turf, in bracket, situation in a new market. I mean, it means it will take 20 years to become aware what will be the impact. So I would say, let's take advantage of the experience and manage this sector very well, but do not limit the development and the expansion of new product and new application. I would make as an example pyrolysis. Now it seems that everything is pyrolysis. Okay, I'm very happy because I mean, ETRA started many years ago, I think over 20 years ago, to host a pyrolysis forum at the conference, and all these people were, I would say, pioneer. Heroes, I would say. People really struggling, believing in starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they did incredible progress. Okay. But still, there are today few projects that has been very successful, and many others that has to develop, has to upgrade the output. So we cannot imagine that 100% of the current projects could become, let's say, well-organized and productive industries. Okay, so the bet is too risky to say, well, we can shift from turf to pyrolysis or to others. I mean, I think we need more legs on which we have to walk and progress. So at the conference, we will still explain and discuss in deep the microplastic and the turf sector, the importance of keeping this alive, as well as many other developments, you know. And I'm not so pessimistic about a revision of microplastic issue, because it is more a political issue. You know, a few days ago, I was in a meeting in Brussels about mobility. And we were talking about also, of course, electrical vehicles. And the audience were the audience from the Automobile Club of Italy. So experts, people of the sector, and these people were complaining to the officer of DigiMove that in certain contexts, electric mobility doesn't make sense. Things to a truck, or to contexts that are really far away from a city. Okay, and at the end, this person admitted, well, you know, I'm not so sure that with the next commission would not come back on this decision, not to change it completely, but to revise. Because indeed, I mean, today it's very difficult to make any forecast also on mobility. There are already the so-called, let's say, vertical helicopter or helicopter or taxis, okay? So probably in few years, an electrical car, as we normally think it is, will be already too old, because it will be overpassed by other technologies. Okay, so I would be very, very careful also about turf. Okay, today with this incredible, let's say, also innovation that is going around, it's impossible, or as I said, very complicated to make to take decision. I think it's better to go step by step and adapt the direction along the way.
Yeah,
so
it's essentially we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We are aware that there are issues with crumb rubber, but we need to look for remedies to those issues rather than ignoring or throwing away the product. So, but this is something you'll be talking about at the conference, and also pyrolysis, which I've been to many conferences, and I know the enthusiasm that the pyrolysis people have for the conference. So I'm looking forward to coming and hearing more about what's happening in the industry. I'd like to know how the Replan City Life project's coming along. It would be nice to know how the industry is going to react to the waste shipment regulations, and how that's going to impact on things, because there's no uniform end of waste for tyre rubber across Europe. Are these the sort of things we'll be talking about?
Yes. I mean, it's incredible how we are, I mean, giving up in Europe to, I mean, our interests. Okay, we do not have materials, we do not have raw materials, and we provide the source of, let's say, raw materials to newly industrialized country. Okay, so they are taking advantages for our weaknesses. We could create our strength, our jobs, our economy on the waste, because we have also the capacity, the technological skill to process this kind of waste. But there is a sort of what is it? Laziness, if I could use this word. Well, it's a problem. Let's ship elsewhere. They will do better than us. I think this is a terrible, terrible mistake. I think that from an economic point of view, the added value is created by the industry, by innovating industry. We need to keep this as an element on which build up our strategy for the future. Unfortunately, well, it seems not, all over Europe, it seems that the industry is something dirty, is something, and recycling is even more dirty. Everything has to do with waste is negative. And we forget that we are producing this waste. So again, a responsible society would say, well, it's our waste, these are our scraps. Let's handle that in a proper way. Let's try to make a value out of it. Let's try to create an economy. Let's coordinate the stream of this waste and material throughout Europe and so on. It's really incredible, difficult to do this. And I'm surprised that it's so difficult also for Tyres, because, Tyres has an advantage compared to other waste. They are more homogeneous. They are much easier to be recognized, to be classified, and to be handled. I can understand that other kind of waste represent a concern, because, the authority that have to make controls sometimes as to, it's difficult in saying what if the current classification has been applied, if there are, let's say, some toxical contents. But a tire is very simple to be managed.
Hi there. It's now time for a quick word from one of our sponsors, Eagle International. Eagle International is a leading designer and manufacturer of tyre shears, balers, sidewall cutters, debeaders and derimmers. However, their focus is on downsizing tyres to make recycling and reusing much easier. Eagle International builds equipment that can process anything as small as 20-inch ATV tyres through to 59, AT and R63 OTR tyres. Eagle International builds the only portable downsizing OTR system on the market today for those looking to eliminate stockpiles of OTR tyres. This system consists of 3 machines, the OTR debeader, the Punch Cutter 2 and the Titan 2. Each machine is designed to be road legal and can be hauled off from one OTR storage site to the next. First, the Eagle OTR debeader pulls the bead from the OTR tyres. This process provides high-quality scrap steel for recycling and helps save wear and tear on shredding equipment. Second, the tyre is cut in half down the centre of the tread with the Punch Cutter 2. Finally, the Titan 2 OTR tyre shear cuts the half tyres into smaller segments that are more readily acceptable for downstream processing. Once the tyre has been halved and segmented, you can reduce the size of an OTR tyre by approximately 70%. This means you can save money by hauling more scrap rubber in each load that leaves the site. Eagle International Tyre Recycling equipment is here to help you reduce size, reduce waste, and reduce impact. Find out more by visiting eagleequipment.com. Now, it's time to get back to the podcast.
Yeah, the whole tyre economy has the potential to be closed. There's a supply chain to get the tyres to the consumer, and you reverse those logistics to get them back to the recycler. The missing link appears to be in getting them from the recycler back to the producer, whether that's tyres or conveyor belts or rubberized asphalt or what have you. I suspect that what we're doing just now is by shipping large amounts of tyres, and every country in Europe does it. We ship large amounts of tyres to India, Pakistan, etc. And I think what we're doing is we're temporarily exporting our problem, but the problem's not going to go away. And we're already seeing Indian companies who've taken reclaimed, devulcanized rubber, and they wanted to ship it back to manufacturers in Europe. And to me, economically and environmentally, that just doesn't make sense.
I agree. Well, there are, I think, also other less evident aspects. Okay, don't forget that the population in India has overpassed the population of China. So India is becoming the most populated country. It is a democracy. They have, let's say, a very, let's say, strong business attitude, and they have the aim to become a leader in many different sectors. The steel in Europe is no more European; it's Indian. Steel industry, for instance, and sending to them the tires. We are making them growing in tire recycling to create recycled materials. They will become more and more competitive in processing the tire waste, and they will be able then to process their own waste thanks to the skills that we have transferred to them, the skills and the raw materials to put this in a system that works. They will become more and more, an important actor in the rubber industry, thanks to the waste that we are exporting from Europe. So all this country, now it's India, but then there will be also some area in Africa. They will become able at a certain point to handle their own waste, and they will be more competitive. They will say to us, well, let's keep your waste. I have mine. At this point, we will not have any longer the capacity, the industry to recycle, and we will have the waste and their goods coming from India and Southeast and whatever, more and more competitive. We are just giving up everything, and we will become just a market for these countries to grow more and more. I mean, it's so I think the recycling could play a strategic role in the future. The Commission, the EU Commission, seems aware of this. Okay, so they launched the circular economy action plan. They are insisting on the valorization of recycled materials, but these are processes that are not always so linear and so constant. So they require efforts from many players, and of course there are important and big players that are their wealth on the let's say commodities, on virgin material commodities, on traditional industries, and so on and so on. Look at the energy context around the world. I mean, we are shifting from Russian oil to other oil and gas, but we are still there. I mean, we are overpassing a crisis, but I'm sure that in 10 years or 5 years, we will have crisis from the other countries where we are taking the gas and the oil, because you know, all these countries are autocracy. They are not stable. There are many players and so on. And this is true also for rubber. I mean, rubber is coming from one virgin rubber is coming from one clear area of the world. I would say it's really warm, not just for climate. It's really warm from all the concentration of interest, fighting. I mean, there are, a problem of transportation, distance, I mean, consistencies of the quality and so on. So again, I mean, tire recycling is if well managed and well, I mean, coordinated, could really represent a big support for the rubber and tire industries in Europe. Not only, but not only.
We see constantly press material from the tire manufacturers about sustainability, and yet the recyclate content in tires remains very low. So companies like Sumitomo are talking about 1% recovered carbon black, Pirelli maybe 1-2%. And when they talk about a sustainable tire by 2050, they're not really talking about recycled materials. So, and I think I'll probably talk about this at the conference if I have the opportunity. We need to look at alternate markets, because the tire issue is never going to go away. We cannot live without tires. We cannot live without vehicles now. So we need to address, if we take the tire industry at their absolute best, taking 50% of the recyclate rubber back, which they won't. But if they did, we'd still have the other 50% to deal with. And the way the market's developing, with the growth in Africa, Asia, by 2050, the market will almost have doubled in size. So even if the industry did take 50% back, we still got exactly the same problem to deal with in 2050 as we have today, volume-wise.
I agree. I completely agree. But you know, it's not just an issue of material. I make a few days ago, I was talking about space exploration and moon. Okay, of course, we will not be able to explore the universe and whatever. But when US were able to go to the moon, I think that the most important aspect is this develop a research and a study of materials, technology, the use of the recycling of the air and the water in this little, let's say, home that was the lamp. Okay, so in the same way, the recycling is not just a way to say, well, let's put 50% back into the tire because it's more sustainable. That it is. This will stimulate the industry, the tire industry, to better use materials, to improve the processes, to come up with other solutions, other innovation. And this challenge will have benefit beyond the recycling itself. We'll have benefit also on the new products, because problems stimulate solution and innovation. Making very simple. I mean, every challenge. Well, the same for the racing car. Okay, the car industry. The car industry took so many innovation from the Formula One developments for the study and whatever. It's not just an issue to go faster and faster. Okay, this is let's say the media aspect, the sport aspect, and whatever. But behind it, there is so much technological studies, so much research, that this is the important aspect. And I think that the very innovative things is that now tire industry is taking recycling seriously. And they understood that this could be really something innovative, something really giving to them
so
an opportunity.
Will there be representatives from the tire industry at the ETRA conference this year? I know that in the past it has not always been possible for various reasons, but are we likely to see anybody from Michelin or ETRMA come to speak at the conference, or even as a delegate?
Mm-hmm. Well, there will be normally tire producers register at the very last moment, like last year. I think over the past few years we had represented more or less all the brands, but not every year. So there is a sort of turnover. But I think that 3 or 4 tire producers will be at the conference, according to the exchange of emails we are having now. Some already expressed their. They said in writing we will come, but they didn't register yet. But I think that every year that we had more and more people from the tire industry. Okay. They need to be there. They want to take contacts. They want to understand what's going on. I think for them it's an obliged way. The introduction of recycled materials in their process. And about what will happen in 2015, well, I don't know. I'm taking care of what happened this year and next year. It's very difficult to make this kind of forecast. It's good that they are engaging in make their production more sustainable, but I would be more enthusiastic to have a real progress in the next 2 or 3 years that someone announcing that in 30 years we will be in a better world. Let's go step by step. Maybe
let's see things happen. Let's because we've had a lot of talking over the last 25 years. We need the industry to really start taking note. But to finish on a sort of positive note, it is really good to see that after many years of people running into brick walls, that companies like Enviro, Pyro, Greenval in Spain, Boulder across in the States, Delta Energy, they're actually making headway and finding markets for pyrolysis materials. Because for so long, it looked like it was going nowhere. And it needed really dedicated people to press the industry forwards. And I think now the doors have opened. So it'd be good to talk to some of these people at the conference in March.
Yeah. No, I would be really pleased. We are thinking also to some interesting moments, let's say, beside the conference, like some corner to have some, let's say, speech, some, let's say, uh, I mean, face-to-face meeting. I mean, there will be a space for people, an office if they want to sit down, have their meeting. On the other side, it's a unique opportunity. People with one trip can meet uh, 100 other person of the industry in the 3 days. You can save a lot of time and really an important networking opportunity. So this is also an important aspect of the ETRA conference. There will be also people from the commission, so it will be important to ask to them, to put them questions about the relevant, the most relevant issues, not just the microplastic, not just the circular economy. We recently read about the pH reassessment. This is something also very important. Nonetheless, what surprised me is that everything we are wondering about the impact of certain substances in recycled material without asking ourselves why these, let's say, hazardous substances are used in the first production cycle, and what would be the real impact, because our is really, let's say, the last ring of the chain. Okay, if we want, I mean, if we are aware that something is dangerous, let's take care since the beginning, and try to remove or to reduce or to implement a policy to bring it to lowering the quantity or the impacts and so on. So it seems to me sometimes some, let's say, flagship initiative just to show that there is an attention on, I mean, it's a nonsense. It's not, well, and sometimes, many times we discover that then all this concern was not justified. Okay, so also this is an issue that I would be pleased to ask to the officers from the commission. I think there would be a nice debate on this, and I think you could contribute to it, owing to your experience. And well, it's I think would be a very lively and dynamic moment.
Good. I'm looking forward to the conference, and I hope to exchange views with lots of people who are far more knowledgeable than I am. But it's always an education, and I would encourage people to reserve a place at the conference.
Oh, would be nice, with pleasure, and I'll be glad to welcome these people and you as well.
So there you have it. There was our interview. Ewan, what do you think are the main things to look out for at this year's ETRA conference?
I think that there absolutely has to be discussion about the Crumb rubber issue. I think that is exercising people in the industry, and if it's not discussed, then where do they go? The ETRA conference is a great place to talk about this. It gives people in the recycling sector an opportunity to meet with people from the European Commission. There's usually a couple of speakers there from the Directorate General Environment, who can come along and listen to the industry's point of view directly. it gives the industry a bit more of a sound footing if they can go to the Directorate General who recommend everything to the Commission. But what actually happens with the recyclers? I think there's also going to be some discussion on exports and waste shipments, although we didn't touch too much on that, but it's obviously going to have an impact. And I think Ettore, taking a longer term view, he is concerned that if we keep shipping our waste to India or Africa, essentially we will have nothing to work with. We waste as a resource. And if we ship the resources to India and Indians turn it into devulcanized rubber or recovered carbon black and ship it back to us, it doesn't make economic or environmental logic to do so. We should be doing this in Europe. And I think he fell short, but I think he wants the European Commission to act to help support and generate the recycling sector in Europe, which is interestingly a message that EURIC has also been sending out to the European Commission. They want more done to encourage recycling in Europe. And I think we'll see a lot of talk about that at the conference.
Interesting. So two key areas there. Yeah, I do. I was sort of cheekily thinking in my head that maybe this year's conference will just be a Crumb Rubber conference, given the importance of that topic. But obviously, there's many more issues that will need to be covered as well. Okay, Ewan. I know we've got a few interviews in the pipeline. We don't know which one is going to just turn up next in the podcast series. So maybe could you just detail like some of the interviews that we have confirmed that will be appearing, maybe not next, but shortly.
Right. For the next few episodes, we have a couple of interesting and very different subjects. Richard will be doing the interview with Noxus in Spain, who are the designers of the Recircle Award, and hopefully we'll be doing a podcast with Adele Rose from Tyrewise in New Zealand. That's open to timing, but hopefully we'll have that before March. Others that we'd be looking at would be, I suspect we might want to talk to Peter Taylor about the situation in the UK, and possibly Pascal Klein at Pyrum again, as Pyrum seems to be forging ahead at quite a pace. And we haven't spoken to Thomas Sorensen at Enviro for some time. I'm sure Thomas must have some news for us, so we may have more on that front. We do know that the pyrolysis people are always keen to see the videos, and we have spoken to a Canadian project, but they're not quite ready to publicize what they're doing yet. So we've got some interesting stuff coming up in the not too distant future.
Definitely. No, that's yeah, there are lots of good interviews that will be coming up in the not too distant future, and plenty for readers and listeners to keep themselves occupied with. Anyway, thanks for that, Ewan. We'll be back very shortly with the next episode of the Tyre Recycling Podcast. Thank you for watching.